Hello, and welcome. Welcome to Pretty with Purpose, Unleashing the Power in You podcast. I'm your lovely host, Shardell, and that's right, I'm still excited. I know this is the third episode, but I'm still excited. Yes, it's definitely still there. So I'm excited to be here before y'all today. Thank y'all for joining me. Now, one thing before we get into the show, I just want to let y'all know, the listeners know, that I want y'all to start reaching out and let me know, what questions do you have? What concerns, what issues do you have that you don't mind me reading it on air and giving my advice on it, or even any episode topics you would like for us to discuss? Let me know. So you could DM me. I'm on Facebook as well as Instagram as Pretty with Purpose by Shardell. Feel free to DM or inbox me. Or you can also reach me on TikTok at PWP by Shardell. As well as you can reach me by email. Support at PWP by Shardell.store. That's right. Support at PWP by Shardell.store. I got to get used to saying that, but let's get right into it. So for today episode topic is finding your voice again. Ooh, that sounds good, right? Finding your voice again. The reason this episode is called Finding Your Voice Again, because sometimes we don't realize that we once knew who our authentic self was, in our pureness and our innocence. And then somewhere along the way, something or someone said or did something that discouraged us from our embracing our authenticity little by little. Whether it was certain comments people made, telling, people commenting on the way we sound or the way we look, the way we dress, dreams or aspirations we had. Somewhere along the way, we started losing little pieces of us. And before we knew it, we became something we wasn't. We became molded into who we thought we had to be in order to be accepted. So today, we're going to focus on finding your voice again. So my first question is this: what took my voice? Yes. What took my voice? Even as I already said in the intro, was it an experience I had? Was it something somebody did to me? Was it I didn't want to be looked at as being different? Was it bullying? Was it feeling like the black sheep? What was it that took my voice? I know, going into time of transparency, I know I could look back and I remember growing up, I was probably like the age of 10 or 11, and I had a scar underneath my eye. And as a result of that, I remember one day this boy on my block that I grew up with, he called me ugly. Yeah, he called me ugly, and he teased me because that's why you Scarface. And I believed him. I believe I was ugly because he told me. I had nothing to combat it. I didn't grow up hearing my mom, my father, or people in my household, or people in my environment. I didn't hear nobody telling me I was pretty, I was beautiful. I didn't get that. So when he called me ugly, I believe it. It is so a seed of insecurity. And as a result of that, I grew up, not thinking I was beautiful. And that led me down a path that I'm not going to go into right now. But that's just an example of how we could lose our voice. And losing our voice is not just, our physical voice, although yes, that is included, but it's our authenticity. Who am I as a person? Who is my true self? What am I ought to sound like? What am I ought to look like? When we strip all these things, we strip away our titles, we strip away our roles, we strip away who people say we have to be. We strip away expectations. We strip away the experience that shaped us, whether it was fear, whether it was doubt, whether it was unbelief. When we strip away all these things that help mold us and shape us to who we are today, my question is, who are you? Who are your true voice? What is it that you really like? And I want to give another example, even when it comes to dressing. I know mostly now in time, we live in a time where people love to follow trends. People love to do what love to dress how everybody else dressing, because someone else wearing it, you got to wear it because this is what the culture says, how we got to dress, how we got to look. This is what perceived to be cool. But my question, is it a question or no? My statement is this. I remember growing up, there was a part of me that did, wanted the name brand stuff because it was cool. But then it was also that part of me that had my own opinion and liked to be different. So I leaned into that. And what made me lean into that really was because of one, not having the financial resources. So you got to get creative in how you dress, So I leaned into my voice of my uniqueness of dressing how I dress. And I remember at times, like in my opinion, I dressed cute and I did used to get compliments. But I remember at times people saying stuff about the way I dress because I like to mix colors. That was me. I didn't want to wear, you wear a black shirt, you got to wear black shoes. You wear a pink shirt, you got to wear pink shoes. You got to match. I love mixing colors and look, I didn't follow the rules. I didn't care about the rules. I was going to make my own rules. I wasn't going to follow people's trend. I was going to set my own trend. That was my mindset. So I remember one day a friend of mine talking about me because I wore this black and white shirt with a pink belt. I had on some jeans, some nice fitted jeans and some pink shoes. And she had something to say about it. But how about 2 weeks later, I seen her doing the same thing. So it was funny. People can criticize you for being different, but then want to turn around and copy you. So embrace you, embrace your voice. But I remember even, finding my own style and having my own style for a lot of years. But I remember there came a time when I started to lose my voice as far as being stylish and dressing how I like to dress because in the name of trying to fit in. And it was during my experience, with the church. Feeling like, you can't dress like this, you can't dress like that, you can't look like this, you can't look like that because this is a sin, that is a sin. Or if you dress like this, then, people looking at you funny, women in particular looking at you funny because they think you, want their man or want their husband. So all these different things, caused me to start dialing back in how I truly like to dress. Although I would still look nice, but it was me looking nice to fit in with people versus being authentic to who I was. So I lost my, voice in years. And I bring that up because it's a scripture in the Bible that says a little leaven, leaven a whole lump. When you start compromising on your authentic self, when you start compromising on your voice, it starts just a little bit, but it grows, and it grows. And before you know it, you look up like, who the hell have I become? Who am I? Like, this is not me. And a lot of times we got this, we're suffering in silence. We got these silent cries and we don't know why. And part of it is because we're not being true to being our authentic self. We're not being true to the voice that God has given us. We all have a unique sound. We're not all supposed to look alike. We're not all supposed to talk alike, dress alike. No. We've been all made as individuals for a reason. And I think about flowers, how there's so many different flowers, roses, lilies, daisies, tulips, sunflowers. There's so many different kinds, right? And they all serve their own unique purpose. And that's the same thing as us. part of the reason that make us unique is us being authentic to how we was purposed to be, being authentic to ourselves. God did not make a mistake when he made us, he didn't make a mistake, not with your complexion, not with your hair texture, not with your body shape. He didn't make a mistake who your mother, who your father is. God didn't make no mistakes. So, again, what took your voice? And then my question is, are you going to keep allowing what took your voice to take your voice? That's the question that I'm going to revisit, but let that sink in. My next question is this. Am I ready to find it again? Are you ready to find your voice again? And I ask, are you ready? Because a lot of times we say we want something, but then mentally and emotionally, we're not prepared to deal with, we're not mentally and emotionally prepared to deal with the scary that comes with facing the emotional pain that drove us away from ourselves. I'm going to say that again. This can be scary, facing the emotional pain that drove us, or if you want to say me, that drove me away from me. In other words, having to face the very things that drove me away from being me, that can be scary. I know even on my personal journey of self-development and working on becoming my best self, I know there was times I would start the process and I'd be excited, but then it became times when it became too heavy to deal with. I will find ways to run away from it secretly without even realizing it. Whether running away was me getting busy or me entertaining distractions or me not making the necessary time that was necessary for me to deal with what I needed to deal with. There's a lot of ways, we run away, whether it's working, whether it's being busy, whether it's excuses, whether it's tying ourselves to our children, to our responsibility, and neglecting ourselves. Sometimes we neglect ourselves on purpose. It's not always ignorance. A lot of times it's subconsciously on purpose because we don't want to face ourselves. We don't want to face the hurt. We don't want to face the pain. That's not easy doing, but I can tell you this, it is doable. And it don't matter how many times you stop, get back up and go again. Because some things, it took me years to overcome, not because it took long, but because I kept running from it. A lot of people, there's a saying that, times heals all wounds, but no, dealing with the wound is what caused the wound to be healed. Healing doesn't have to be a long journey. We make it long because we draw it out and we don't want to follow the instructions that'll lead us to being healed. So I'm going to ask again. Are you ready to find your voice again? Because one of the ways being ready look like, it means facing what you have in the face. It means setting aside the time that you need to set aside so you could do with what you need to do with, It's okay. It's a beautiful process, It's a beautiful process. I'm speaking, from personal experience, It's such a beautiful process. It's such a rewarding process finding, your voice again. Even right now with me doing this podcast, this is me finding, my voice again. And that's part of the reason why I'm excited, because it's not just a podcast, but it's the purpose behind it. It's, I love helping people. I love ministering. I love doing purpose. I do. I love using my voice to build up people, to edify, to help people. I love using my voice to do that. So to not only, be using my voice, but to be using it from the place of authenticity, because there's with times when I use my voice, But, I wasn't using it in a pure, authentic form. There was part of me that was authentic. Then there was a part of me that was shaped by my experience, expectations, and who my leader said I had to be. But today, I come before you as being free from a lot of them things. Now, am I fully finished, with the journey? No, I'm not. But I'm in a place where I'm embracing it all the more. And I'm excited because, to be honest, I like me. I like me. I like who I am today, and I love who I am becoming. So, it's time to find you again, beloved. I encourage you, take the time to find your voice. And I'm going to give a few tips on how you find your voice. The last thing I want to ask before I get the tips is this. Ask yourself, will you be okay if you don't get back to your voice? If you don't get back to being your authentic self? Ask yourself that question. I don't want to really say too much, but just ask yourself that question. Can you live with continuing to be the person you are now? Are you satisfied with the person you are now? If you are, then this doesn't apply. If you are, but there's room for improvement, then this apply. But if yeah, it's time to get back, like to be my authentic self, like this word is right on time, then yes, I'm talking to you. So, a few tips. I already kind of hinted away at it, and getting back to finding your voices. One way of getting back to finding your voice is this: spending time with yourself. That's right. You got to spend time with yourself. And even some of the other tips that I already gave in previous episodes, those are things that also lead you to the place of finding your voice again. But spending time with yourself, spending time with yourself. Why? Because you got to learn you. You got to learn you. You got to, in that time of spending time with yourself, you got to learn you. Learn your voice again. You can learn your voice by doing self-examination. By examining yourself. There's no way around it. So you want to find your voice again. It starts with spending time with yourself, loving on yourself, and time of personal reflection where you examining yourself, examining who have you become, examining where you at, examining what are your true heart desires, and where you at in that alignment of your true heart desires. And that's a big part, because a part of our desires, and even going deeper, not just to the shallow things we desire, but really asking ourselves, is this my true heart desire, or is this a desire that's as a result of a void I feel? And what I mean by that, sometimes we could want things because we're trying to fill a void. And sometimes the things we want, we do want it, but the place we're at right now, we're wanting it for the wrong reasons. So that part of self-examination is going to help to comb through some things, going to help to separate, what shaped us, and help us to find our way back. And then last, but definitely not least, I would say this is one of the most important parts of it, is using God. When I say use God, look to God. Include God in this. So why you got to include God? Because God is the creator. He know how you supposed to sound. He know how you supposed to look. He know who he created you to be. So it will be impossible to find your way back to your most purest, authentic self without the one who made you. That's God the Father, the creator of the heavens, the earth, the universe, and everything. Him, Elohim. Include him in this process. We are coming to a close. But before we close, I want to leave you with this. Life happens. Life happens. And I say that Because it's not that life happens. It's not that you lost your voice. It's not that you got away from being your authentic self. Because, again, life happens. And I'm a firm believer of the Word of God. And I believe when the Word of God says, all things work together for good for those that love God and are called according to his purpose. I believe that's Romans 8:28. Everything you've been through, it's going to work for your good. So although life happens, you don't have to be discouraged by what has happened to you thus far. If you feel like you're not at where you're supposed to be in life, that's okay, because all things work together for good. You may have lost your voice, but it's not the end. It's not the end of you, or it's not the end of you. This is just a new beginning. Is this your new beginning, where you take all your experience and you use it for your good? As well, you take back your voice. And this time is coming to and in this time of you taking back your voice and you coming back to your true, authentic self, you coming back better than ever. Why? Because you coming more refined, more mature, more developed, because of all the things you've been through. Now you know how to apply them life experience. You know what to avoid. You know, you gain some life wisdom that will help you be a better version of yourself, that'll teach you how to appreciate your voice, that'll teach you how to appreciate being you, that'll teach you how to protect and set boundaries to avoid losing you again. So yes, life has happened, but love, now it's time for you to happen. And that is all for today. I thank you for joining me on another episode of Pretty with Purpose, Unleashing the Power Within. I'm your host, Shardell, and I hope to see you again as well. And be sure to like and follow me on social media platforms. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Pretty with Purpose by Shardell. As well, I'm on TikTok as PWPbyshardell. So be sure to follow me, because I got communities, as well as I got a lot of great other offers from coursing, coaches, books, a lot of things that'll help you become a better you, that'll help you to unleash the power within and walk in the fullness of your purpose. So be sure to connect with me on social media, where there's more interaction and we could go deeper and offer some greater benefits. So thank you for joining me today. I look forward to meeting you here again next Friday on Pretty with Purpose, Unleashing the Power Within. So until next time, loves, be sure to live on purpose.